What's up, Brew Crew? Hey, welcome back to my Brew City Garden. Today is September 27th. We're really getting into fall, so we're into the first week of fall now, and it sure feels like it. The temperatures here in Milwaukee have been getting down into the mid to upper 40s at nighttime. And in fact, last week we had a frost advisory just 2 counties over from here. Now, the nice thing about Milwaukee County is that we're right on Lake Michigan, which kind of shields us for a little bit longer in the season. So there's a benefit living next to the lake. It kind of moderates the temperature a little bit. So we do tend to skip, our frosts here tend to occur just slightly later as far as Zone 5 is concerned. I guess that's why they call it Zone 5B. So it gives us just a few extra days, but still, it's nice when the guys west of here are covering their plants up. I don't typically have to worry about it here. So that's one benefit of living here in Brew City. But it has been getting very chilly here at night. In fact, I almost contemplated turning the furnace on for the first time last night. And I suppose I should probably do that here in the next day or two just to make sure everything's working as it should. But anyway, I went and I looked at the forecast for the next few days, and just to see what things are going to be looking like, if I have to worry about anything. And as far as frost is concerned, no, I don't have to worry about frost. However, the temperatures, especially the nighttime temperatures, are still going to be quite low, and it's going to be raining. It's going to be very misty and rainy for the next several days. So I think with a lot of anticipation, I've been kind of holding off on pulling these potatoes out of the garden. I want to give them as much time as possible to develop, especially the red potatoes, which really seem to be pretty healthy still. But they did go in a little bit later this year. But anyway, it's time to get those out. So if it's going to be raining and it's going to be cold, I don't want to risk those potatoes sitting in the ground and rotting. So I got up a little bit early this morning. We're going to go out to the back garden and we're going to see what we've got. All right, guys, let's go check it out. Okay, so here we are in the back garden. Now, if you're new to the Brew City Gardener channel, let me explain to you we really are into straw bale gardening. So I've been straw bale gardening for a few years now. And I tend to use fresh bales every year in my main straw bale garden. And what I'll do is I'll take the spent bales from the previous year and I'll put them in this garden bed here in the back. And it's really become maybe the most fertile garden I have. When these spent bales break down, they are just the most incredibly fertile growing medium that I've used yet. There's about 3 years worth of bales in this particular garden, and a little bit of compost and some other amendments. So basically, whenever my containers or my straw bales are finished, I'll bring them back here and recycle it into this back garden. And it's really been just a no hassle. I don't have to do much with it, and it seems like whatever I plant in this garden, it just does amazing. In the back here is my tobacco plants on the far side. And then one row up, I've got the yacon, which have done just absolutely fantastic this year, and we'll certainly go over the yacon here in a future video in the next week or so. And then I planted 3 varieties of standard potatoes here on this side of the garden. So I've got the Pontiac Reds here, and then Kennebec Whites in the center, and on that side I've got the Yukon Golds. The Yukon Golds have been ready for a while. So I'm hoping that they haven't sat in there too long, but it seems like the straw drains very well. So as far as moisture or the potatoes sitting in water, it's just not the case. It really works out really well. And the proof is in the pudding. So we're gonna find out for sure today just how well these potatoes did. All right, guys, sit back. I'm gonna dig up some potatoes. We're gonna get dirty. We'll see what we end up with.
I'd say we're off to a pretty good start so far. I've cleared out maybe a 4 foot by 5 foot section, and I've already got several pounds. So it's gonna take a while. All right, Brew Crew. So it's probably not the 100 pounds that I was kind of hoping to pull out of here, but there's at least 50 pounds here, maybe closer to 70. I'm not sure. I don't really have a scale big enough to weigh that, but it's a substantial amount of potatoes, and Mrs. Brew City Gardener is going to be very happy, and I'm quite pleased as well. I am going to go ahead and turn this garden over with a garden fork to see if I missed anything that was a little bit deeper. Basically, I just scraped the edge of where the dirt and the straw meet, which is anywhere from 6 to 8 to 12 inches in certain spots. And that's just what I got from that. So now I'm going to turn everything over with a garden fork. Might pull a couple more pounds out of here, we'll see. And I'm pretty happy with it. Looks good. All right, guys, now I would call that a success. I need to get with Miss Brew City Gardener and see if we can find the bathroom scale, and I can get an idea of exactly how much is here. But when I carried these buckets from the back garden to the front, something in my mind told me somewhere between 80 and 90 pounds. Probably pretty easy. And the best part is, look at the size of some of these spuds. These things are massive. Look at that red potato. It's bigger than my hand. I can't even get my whole hand around it. It's amazing. These things are just huge. Not too bad for using some spent bales that might otherwise just go in the compost or out on the curb or whatever else you might do with them. You know, a couple of bags of seed potatoes. I threw them in there at the end of May, beginning of June, and literally didn't do anything with them. I just let them go, and I just got a phenomenal harvest. Obviously, I could have let those red potatoes go a little bit longer, and maybe they would have sized up, but I mean, really, that's pretty good. I'm not complaining at all. Definitely a bigger harvest than I got last year. Of course, I planted more potato seed. I did experiment with cutting the seed potatoes up this year versus last year, where I just put whole seed potatoes in. Honestly, I don't notice any difference. I'll have to do some more experimentation, some more trials with that, but wow, I'm just really happy. All around, really nice harvest. I need to go back in there, so when I planted my potatoes and my yacon, I kind of did them at the same time, and I got my row spacing messed up a little bit, so I noticed some of my Yukon Golds are actually growing within the yacon. Now, I didn't want to go in and start digging them up yet. I don't want to disturb those yacon. I still got a couple or a few more weeks until our first frost, hopefully, And those Yacon tubers are really starting to size up right now at this time of year. It's starting to cool down, and I really want to give those tubers and also the rhizomes all the time they need to develop so that we get a nice harvest and I can propagate more next year. So when I pull those Yacon tubers out, that's when I'll look for the rest of those Yukon Golds. By the looks of these, even though they've obviously been ready and they've been sitting in the ground and we've had a considerable amount of precipitation, these things are still clean, they're dry, there's no sign of rot in these whatsoever. These potatoes look fantastic. I really gotta say that using the straw to grow potatoes, man, it might be the best way to go. As you can see, I really didn't have to dig. I just pushed the straw aside and harvested my potatoes. It really couldn't be any easier than that. What a great way to go. You know, and as we're talking about root crops, it looks like the carrots are really starting to develop well also. In fact, if you look at my Facebook page, there's a picture there of my beautiful wife holding up some of the first carrots that we harvested last weekend. And they were actually quite a bit nicer than these even. So it's kind of sporadic throughout the straw bales. Some carrots obviously are larger than others, but of course that depends on how much water they're getting and how much sun they're getting, because they're intercrop with other plants. But it looks like the carrots are coming along nicely as well. So make sure you stay tuned so we can you can follow up on the carrots. Definitely you don't want to miss the Yacon. What a great root crop. It's not well known, but it's really delicious and just a unique crop to grow. And I'll see if I can find some more potatoes when we harvest this Yacon and see what happens there. All right, guys. Hey, thanks again for joining me today at the Brew City Garden. As always, it's such a pleasure to have you guys here. Hey, if you want more information, make sure you check out my Facebook page. You can find me at Facebook at Brew City Gardener, and check out our straw bale gardening group called the Global Straw Bale Gardeners Collective. It's going to be just a wealth of information, and especially through this winter, we're just going to start packing information in there and resources and really keep things going. And the best part is we've got people from all over the world, so if it's not in season here, it's in season somewhere else. So make sure you check out the Global Straw Bale Gardeners Collective. Hey, and if you're new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with the Brew City Garden for the rest of this season and for many seasons to come. And if you like this video, do me a big favor, please hit that thumbs up button. That's going to help me out a ton. All right, guys, it's time for me to go get cleaned up, off to my day job. You guys have an awesome day. Happy gardening. We'll see you.